Perfect. So with your strap, if you can stay just laying on your back, depending on how you're feeling today. Otherwise, we'll come into, the pose with soles of the feet touching and knees wide while we're laying on our backs. And I'll give you the option of either putting some pillows or some blocks underneath the knees, or you can make your strap into a big loop here. I know I told you to start laying down and then I'm making you sit back up again. I'm sorry. Make sure that the clasp is near your side or somewhere where you can reach it. And then you'll take the loop around behind you to your low back here. If you've got the strap, you'll lay down. Loop will come in between the thighs here and to the outside of the feet, so the pinky side of the feet, so that your knees are out and the strap just comes inside the legs here. And then you'll just tighten the strap. You can move the buckle if it's in an uncomfortable spot here. Tighten the strap just enough that it helps hold those knees open. And if this is really uncomfortable, like I said, you've got the option of just having blocks or pillows underneath the knees, or even just skipping this shape entirely and just extending the legs out long here. I can walk you through that. You got it, Linda? Loop comes between the thighs while the legs are open. You loop it to the outside of the feet here, and then tighten it until you feel supported. Perfect. And then, just squeeze the soles of the feet together here. Allow the knees to open up. And like I said, if you feel like there's a lot of pressure in the groin area, in the legs, just give that strap a little bit more of a tug here, and it should kind of support you here. And it's at the low back, so right above those hip bones, so it's not digging into the back or anywhere uncomfortable. And then taking the arms wherever feels okay for you. Maybe the arms are on the floor, maybe on the belly. If you want to get into those shoulders today, you could even take the arms overhead here. I'm closing the eyes, allowing the body to soften into whatever shape you've chosen. Allowing the breath to slow down a little bit here. I've been thinking a lot about balance this week, which is part of what we talked about last week with ahimsa. It's one of those main factors of ahimsa, this idea of nonviolence. When we can feel balanced in our body, in our mind, in our soul, there is no violence. And the reason I've been thinking about balance is I went back to my store. I've been at another store for the last few weeks, and I went back to my store that I'm now managing, and it definitely felt a little chaotic for me this week. I was still between both stores, and I just felt like I couldn't get my head quite on my shoulders. New responsibilities and a much faster pace. The store that I have is a lot busier than some of the other ones that I've worked at. So every day I came home and I was exhausted, and not necessarily physically, but just energetically exhausted. My brain was tired. I didn't have time to check things off my to-do lists like I wanted. I didn't get time to accomplish all the things that I had set in my head. And so part of this act of balance for me was recognizing that I didn't need to check all those things off. Recognizing that I needed to just rest, feed myself some good food, and just be aware, listen to my body, listen to my brain when it says, okay, it's okay to set this stuff aside. You can come back to it next week. And so that's an invitation for you to maybe find that in your own life if you're feeling a little chaotic. We've got a lot of full moon energy this week. So that hasn't really helped, at least not for me. One way to feel balanced is to connect back to that physical, which is what we do here. Connecting back to the breath, connecting back to the little sensations in the body. So again, as we're laying here, noticing what's popping up. And this is a pretty heavy hip opener here. So maybe you're noticing some things there, and that's okay. And a lot of times, what helps us balance the mind is finding something in the body, finding that connection. And it's okay to let some things fall, right? I heard an analogy or a story about um, all these balls that we juggle and imagining that some of them are glass and some of them are rubber. And so deciding which of the balls in your life, which of the things you're juggling are made of glass, and deciding which ones are made of rubber. And then just being mindful to catch the glass ones and let the rubber ones fall every once in a while because they can take it. The glass ones are the important things. So, what's important to you? What's important that you catch that you don't kind of lapse on? And knowing that it doesn't have to be every single thing in your life, right? It can be one thing, it can be five things, but not everything is the same level of importance. Not everything is made of glass. Staying with the breath here. Today's flow gets into a little bit of everything. We'll do some twists. We'll get into the hips, obviously, side stretching. We will get a little balancy at the end. And then turning the head to the left here, just gazing past the left shoulder, allowing that right shoulder to be soft. Turning the head to the right, allowing the left shoulder to be soft. Turning the head back to center, allowing the hips to be soft, allowing the shoulders to be soft, allowing the belly to be soft. Probably starting to feel it in the hips here, maybe. We'll be here for 3 more breaths. And then, however gently you can here, maybe by lifting the feet up, unstrap the feet. You can leave the strap around the waist here. And then we'll draw this left knee on top of the right, coming into a twist. And you can kind of hug the knees in a little bit closer to the chest here as you twist, if that feels okay. Whatever supine twist feels good here. Maybe they're not stacked on top of each other. Maybe that left knee is, more of a diamond shape. Just coming in for some sort of twist, allowing that left shoulder to be heavy. Maybe the gaze goes back over the left shoulder. And then we'll take knees through center and over to the left. Knees come through center. Unstrap yourself here, however you need to. Get that strap out. And you can actually keep the loop in it. It might help you for this next step. We'll take knees to center. Low spine, flat on the ground here. Knees into chest. And then strap up that right foot. So the strap will go to the ball of the foot here. Send that heel, send that sole of the foot all the way up to the sky. And then depending on how you want here, you can either just grab the strap like you normally would, or you can make it a small loop and grab it that way, whatever works for you here. Extend that left leg all the way down to the ground. You can keep it straight if it's okay, or if it's a little too much here, you can step back and just bend that left knee, bringing the left sole of the foot to the ground. Keep extending through this right leg, right heel. You can have as much of a bend in this right knee as you need to here. See if you can soften the shoulders, and then keep the shoulders soft as we start to take this leg out towards the right, allowing this hip to open. Maybe you take the left hand on top of the left hip here. And this right leg only goes as far as you're able to take it while still keeping this left sit bone, left hip rooted. Maybe you put a pillow or a block underneath that leg here if it feels like a lot. Coming back to the breath. Keep extending through both heels here. So we're still active in that left leg, even though it's in this kind of resting position. Allowing the breath to fill the body. And then on an inhale, drawing the right leg all the way back up towards center. Take the strap with the left hand and extend that leg over to the side here. And we're not going very far. We're not twisting here. So see if you can keep this right hip close to the ground. Can you keep your right shoulder rooted? And maybe you work on trying to draw this foot a little bit in closer towards the chest. Keep extending through the left leg. Start to bend that right knee and unstrap the right foot. And maybe you take your hand to that right, your left hand to the right ankle, and you'll cross the right foot over that left leg. It might land outside the knee, it might land outside the thigh, wherever you can get that foot mostly planted here. And we'll get this a little less awkward. You can stay here, or if you want a little bit more, and we're pointing this right knee up towards the sky, right? If you want a little bit more, bend this left knee, bring that left foot towards the right butt cheek. Maybe you're able to grab that right ankle with the right hand. Again, totally optional. This is a little twisty. This is like a literal pretzel pose. If you have, well, even if you don't, wherever you are in this pose, extend nice and long through that left arm, draw it all the way up and overhead here. So we're stretching long through the left side. See if you can really root down through this left hip. Keep reaching through this left arm. And then on your next exhale, release everything, untwist gently here, draw both knees into the chest. Okay, grab that strap one more time. We'll take it to the other side now. Strap up the ball of the left foot, extend that foot all the way up to the sky here. Take as much of a bend in this left knee as you need, and then straighten through that right leg and gently lower it all the way down. Or maybe you bring the sole of that right foot to the ground and keep this right knee bent. A few options for you here. And then whatever you decide, keep extending through the extended legs. Keep drawing these left toes towards the face here. And then you guessed it, we'll open up this left leg to the left side. Take the right hand perhaps to the right hip just to allow it to stay rooted here. And you root down through the shoulders, keep extending through that left heel. Even if you need to bend that left leg, we're still working on that extension. Keep extending through the right leg if it's extended. How many times can we say the word extended? On an inhale, drawing left leg up towards center. Take the strap with the right hand, and this time take that leg slightly over to the right here. Only so much so that you're able to keep this left shoulder planted here. And then we're almost drawing it in towards the face. So instead of thinking about going out away from the body, can you start to draw those toes towards the face here in this, again, start of our pretzel pose? And to some people, I'm sure every yoga pose is pretzel. One more breath here. And then bending that left knee, releasing the strap. You can set the strap off to the side here. We're done with it. Maybe you grab that left ankle with the right hand, and this can be where you stay. Maybe you plant left foot to the outside of that right thigh or right knee, and this is where you hang out. Maybe you bend left knee, drawing that right ankle. So bending the right knee, drawing the right ankle towards the outside of the left butt cheek. Maybe that left hand reaches. Now we inhale, sweep that right arm all the way up and overhead, stretching through the right side body. Noticing if you can soften here. Can you relax? I know it's a weird shape. One more big inhale here. And on the exhale, release, unravel yourself. Hug the knees into the chest, maybe rocking a little bit to give that low back a little release. And then extending arms overhead, extending legs out long. We'll take a full body stretch here. Everything's on the floor. You're supported. You're just stretching, taking up some space. Drawing the inhale and then releasing fully on the exhale. This time, bending knees, 90-degree legs here. So knees are bent and the shins, the calves are parallel to the floor. Maybe. I'm looking at myself and mine are not parallel, but we're almost there. And then we'll extend both legs all the way up towards the sky here. And alternate pointing and flexing the feet. You can support the backs of the thighs with the hands here if you'd like, or you can have hands on the floor depending on how you're feeling today. Maybe you find some circles with the ankles, just finding a little movement in the feet. Been doing a lot in the hips, so let's bring it into the rest of the legs here. And then you'll bring knees into chest and roll yourself all the way up to a seat, taking your time to get there. If you want to sit up on a blanket here, feel free. Otherwise, just kind of making some space here, getting those sit bones rooted down. Yeah. Inhale, sweep the arms all the way up towards the sky. Exhale, bend the elbows, cactus the arms. We'll take a few rounds of cat-cow like this. We've done this before. So inhale here. See if you can kind of thrust this chest forward as you draw the elbows back. Squeezing shoulder blades. On an exhale, send the arms forward here. Maybe the fingertips touch as you draw everything back and tuck the chin. Inhale, open up. And exhale, reach the arms long, draw everything back, tuck the chin. Inhale to open. Exhale, take it back. Inhale. Exhale for your cat. One more just like that. Inhale, cow. And exhale, cat. This time on the inhale, open up, and then take that right arm down, reach that left arm nice and up, and then over here for a side stretch. See if you can draw this right rib a little bit closer towards that right hip. Maybe you take the gaze up. On an inhale, lengthening through the spine here as you take it to a twist over to the right. So right fingertips tall behind you. Left hand here, you can be gripping that right knee. Maybe you take the back of that left palm to the right knee and you find a little bit more depth in your twist here. Keep sending the breath down into the low belly. Keeping this left arm in this kind of, twisty position here. Inhale, sweep that right arm all the way over, and we'll take it into a side stretch this time on the right. So left arm stays in front, and we're reaching that right arm over. So that analogy with the balls, the glass balls, the rubber balls, that applies even in our yoga practice, even in our physical asana here. Think about what's important to you to keep grasping during this practice, and then what is less important. So maybe what's important for you is getting more of that mental aspect today. And so that means maybe you spend half the class in child's pose and just listening and breathing. Maybe it's important for you to stretch out a specific part of the body. So you hold on to that, just deciding what it is that you need, listening to yourself. And then here we'll start to come back up. We can place that right hand on top of the left ear, release the left arm out to the side here, and come into a neck stretch. So drawing right ear towards right shoulder. And you can just kind of find where you are today, playing with where the gaze needs to be. Where do you need this stretch in the neck? Maybe doing those pretzel twisty poses is a rubber ball for you today, and you choose not to, and that's okay. Release the hands, come back to center. We'll inhale, sweep the arms all the way up. Exhale, take it out for cactus arms. We'll do 2 rounds of that cat cow here. So big breath in. Exhale, send it back as you reach forward. Inhale to open. Exhale, take it back. Inhale, open, and then take a stretch over to the left, planting that left hand and sending that right sit bone down here as we take the left ribs down towards that left hip. And again, maybe the gaze goes up towards the sky. Maybe you take a bend in this left elbow, whatever you need here. Big breath in. On the exhale, straighten out the torso, but come into a twist on the left side. So coming right into it, right hand to left knee, maybe the back of that right palm to the knee. And we find our twist. Oh, and before I forget, because I'm sure I will before the end of class, I am teaching next week. I know it is Easter. Feel free to join me. It'll be same time. I'll probably have a fun theme, but class is on next week for anyone who is curious. From here, keeping that right hand where it is, we'll inhale, sweep that left arm up and over, coming into a side stretch, little twisted side stretch. See if you can make room for the chest here. I know we've all got some things in the way. Maybe your shoulders don't want to quite bend that way. Can you kind of press the chest forward here, dropping that shoulder blade on the right, allowing for a little bit more depth here. And then we'll gently release that right hand, draw the left hand on top of the right ear, draw the left ear down towards left shoulder. And again, you can find a little movement in the neck here, noticing where you need this stretch. And inhale, release, come back to seated. If you're sitting up on a blanket here, you might want to remove it from underneath you. And then we'll sit up nice and tall here. And exhale, leading with the heart, folding forward over those legs. Elbows can come onto blocks here. Maybe the elbows come to the floor. Maybe the heart comes to the floor if you're particularly stretchy here. We did a little bit of work in the hips already, so I'm just noticing if this feels a little different than it normally would. See if you can root down through the sit bones and keep reaching the heart, reaching the head. Finding a natural curve in the lumbar spine here. Taking slow flow to heart today, noticing where you can soften in these poses as we spend some time. From here, we're moving through into tabletop. So maybe you've got the energy and the build to just kind of roll right forward into a tabletop, or you can kind of sit up and just make your way there. Fingers are wide, wrists are under the shoulders, knees are under the hips, maybe a little bit wider if your low back is kind of achy today. And we'll find some cat-cow or some sort of spinal movement here. So just your invitation to play, get a little curious. Notice what you need here. Notice which parts of the body really need that stretch. Maybe it's a child's pose for you. Taking a few more rounds of breath wherever you are. And then we'll come back to tabletop, come back to that neutral spine, extend the right leg long behind us. Keep reaching through that heel. Sending energy straight through the leg here and straight through the crown of the head. Start to walk those left fingertips forward, stretching long through this left arm. You press, send energy down through the right hand here. See if you can give yourself some space in the shoulders. So notice if you're kind of scrunching here, extending through the crown of the head. And on an inhale, lifting left arm, lifting right leg. Keeping the length in the spine. Take an inhale. On the exhale, knee to elbow underneath you, tucking chin, drawing up through center, finding that cat belly. Inhale, extend the leg, extend the arm. Exhale, knee to elbow. 2 more times like that. Inhale to extend. Exhale, draw it underneath. Inhale, extend. Exhale, knee to elbow. And then plant the knee, plant the hand, come to sit up on the knees. We'll step the right foot forward here, coming right into a lunge. Giving yourself some space here. Hands can be up on blocks. Depending on where you're at today in your body. And then squeeze those thighs towards each other here, drawing that right hip back, left hip forward, and then allowing yourself to soften and settle into the hips. Can you keep lengthening through the spine here? Keep drawing energy towards that midline. And then planting left hand either on a block or on the floor. We'll open up to the right here, finding our twist. Keep pressing down into that left hand. Keep reaching with the right fingers and then allowing the energy of this reach. We're here for 1 breath. And then on your next inhale, reaching nice and tall here, we'll come up off the left hand and come into a reverse lunge here. So right hand reaches for the back of that left thigh, left arm reaches overhead, gaze is over to the right side of the mat here. So again, twisty, side stretchy. Notice what you need here. Maybe it's not the side stretch so much. Maybe you need a little extra support here with that left hand on top of that right knee. Inhale here. Maybe you let it out through the mouth. And come back to that breath. We'll kind of pivot here on our next breath. So left arm comes down, kind of cartwheeling the arms. Take that left foot behind you so that you're facing the left side of the mat here. And then we're bending into this right knee still for a modified side angle. And you can kind of walk this foot in a little bit so that it's in line with that left knee. Hand can come to a block here, any height of the block. And then open up this left shoulder. Maybe you extend that left arm up towards the sky. Maybe it extends out towards the front edge of the mat. Keep squeezing right thigh into right elbow, and then right elbow back into that right thigh. Inhale here. Exhale, lifts you all the way back up. We'll turn back to face the front of the mat so you can sweep that left leg behind you. And then maybe you take your blocks with you. We're coming into a half split. So extend and straighten through that right leg. Send the hips back here. Hands can be on blocks. Hands can be on the floor. Keep sending energy through the ball of the right foot. Inhale, lengthen through the crown of the head. And on the exhale, if you want more, maybe you start to fold over that leg. And you can play with sending the toes in towards the face here, flexing that foot more so, or finding that point or pointed foot here. Just noticing how that changes the shift, changes the shape. Sorry, somebody was knocking at the door. Got a little distracted. Noticing how moving that ankle changes the stretch for you. From our half split here, taking a big breath in. Exhale, bending back into that right knee, planting that right foot. We'll tuck left toes, lift left knee, and inhale, sweep arms up here, coming into our crescent lunge. And you'll find whatever iteration of the arms works for you here. If this is a lot for the shoulders, take it down a notch. See if you can soften into the hips. Keep sending that left hip forward, right hip back. Big breath in. And on the exhale, right hand comes back, left arm reaches high. We're finding a reverse lunge this time with this left knee lifted. Keep reaching through the left side body here, finding that balance, calming the mind. And on an inhale, open up here, warrior two. Planting through that left heel. Bending a little bit deeper into this right knee here. And extending the arms. Soften the shoulders. Inhaling here. Exhale, sweep the front arm back. Finding your reverse warrior. Keep reaching nice and long through this right side body. See if you can sit a little bit deeper in this front knee. Keep the reach, keep the length in this right side. Big breath in. On the exhale, side angle on the right. So maybe you take right elbow on top of that right thigh. Maybe right hand comes down to a block. Maybe it comes to the floor. Can you open up through the chest here, drawing that left shoulder blade back and down? Maybe you extend the arm. Keep planting through the entirety of that back foot. Keep bending into the right knee and keep breathing. Inhale here. Exhale, we start to rotate back to face the front of the mat. Extend and lengthen through this right leg. You can kind of hop that left foot up a little bit. We're coming into a pyramid pose here. So grabbing your blocks if you'd like, giving yourself some space between the feet. And then hands come to frame that front foot. Inhale to find some length in the upper body here. And on the exhale, again, leading with the heart, maybe you fold. So pretty much moving through the same poses that we did with our knee down. Now we're just doing them from standing instead of kneeling. This is essentially your half split. Keep sending energy through the ball of that right foot. You've got a slight bend in that right knee here if it feels better. If your hands touch the floor here and you're pretty comfortable and you want to work on walking those fingertips towards the back foot, towards the back of the mat, you can get there. On an inhale, gaze lifts. Exhale, step the left foot up to the top of the mat to meet the right. You might feel a little longer on that right side right now. That's okay. We'll inhale, sweep the arms all the way up, finding our Tadasana. Grab that left wrist with the right hand. Settle the shoulders down here. Take a slight bend in the knees, really planting down through the feet. And on an exhale, take a stretch over to the right. Inhale through center. Grab that right wrist with the left hand. Exhale, take it to the left. Inhale through center, cactus arms here, open up the heart. See if you can draw shoulder blades back and maybe find a little bit of a back bend here. And on your exhale, fold over the legs. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step it back. Option to move through a vinyasa here, or just come straight through to tabletop. I'll let you decide if you need that downward facing dog. I did not write any into this practice, so take what you need, and then we will meet in tabletop. We've got that whole other side to do. Okay. All right, from our tabletop, if you need to here, take a round or two of cat-cow just to kind of settle that back. And then when you're ready, we'll extend left leg behind us. Toes are tucked, reaching through that heel. I know, it feels like we came a long way from where we were. Now we're taking it all the way back. Start to walk the right fingertips out towards the front of the mat. And on an inhale, lifting the right arm, lifting that left leg. Pressing firmly down into this left hand, making sure you're not collapsing the chest down here. We're staying lifted, we're staying active. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, right knee or left knee to right elbow. Tucking chin. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, take it in. Inhale, lengthen 2 more times. Exhale underneath. Last one here. Inhale, really reach. Exhale, take it in. And then drop that right hand, drop that left knee, come to standing on the knees just for a second here, and then step that left foot forward, coming into our lunge. Totally up to you here if you want to keep those right toes tucked or untucked. You'll just kind of find what works for you. We're starting in our lunge here, so hands can be on blocks. They can be on that thigh, maybe they're on the floor. Figuring out where you are in your body today. Squeezing thighs together. So there's a balance in the physical poses too, right? It's the balance of engagement. Here we're squeezing those thighs, but at the same time, we're also softening so that we can release and really get into the stretch here. These two movements that usually counteract each other become friends here in this practice that we do. Planting right hand onto a block or onto the earth. Open up this left shoulder, coming into the lunge twist. On an inhale, kind of gently pushing yourself off of the floor with that right hand. Take that left hand to the right thigh and reach nice and long here with that right arm. Coming into this reverse twist, reverse lunge. Big breath in here. See if you can reach a little bit longer with that right side. Keep squeezing thighs together. And on the exhale, opening up here to the right side of the mat, you'll twist that right leg behind you. Move this left heel in so it's in line with this right knee. And then we're coming into our modified side angle. So maybe it's knee to thigh, maybe that left hand on a block or on the floor, pressing leg into arm, arm back into leg, and then opening up here on the right. Perhaps you extend the right arm. Still, even in these poses, this active engagement, so still squeezing thighs, still drawing back here towards that center line, and at the same time, allowing the body to soften. One more inhale here. On the exhale, rotating back to the front of the mat, and we'll meet in that half split. So extending through this left leg. Taking a bend in the knee if you need to, and then inhale to lengthen. Exhale, maybe you fold. And again, here we got interrupted on the other side, but you can play with flexing and pointing or flointing that left foot. Noticing how that changes the stretch here for you. Bending into that left knee, drawing yourself forward. We'll tuck the right toes, lift that right knee, and send yourself all the way up here, crescent lunge. Soften the shoulders. Keep bending into that left knee. Keep extending through that right heel. Breath is steady. We're going to keep reaching through this right arm and then draw this left arm down to reach for the back of that right thigh, coming into our reverse lunge here. Can you keep reaching through that right heel? Big breath in. Exhale, open up. Warrior two. Left knee is bent. Really rooting down through the pinky side of that right foot. Here for one more breath. And then flipping the front palm, sweeping it up and back here. Radiant warrior, reverse warrior. Notice if you came out of the left knee a little bit. Keep pressing down through both feet. Here for one more breath. And then keeping that length on the left side that we've created, can you keep it even as we take it into our side angle here on the left side? Beautiful. Remembering you've got all those options for you here. So however deep you want to take this, however challenging you're making this for yourself today. One more breath where you are. On the exhale, twist to face the front of the mat. Right heel pops up. Straighten that left leg. Hop that right foot up, setting up your pyramid here. And on an inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Hands can come to blocks, maybe the floor. Hips are square here. We're finding an external rotation in this left thigh. So notice if your knee is kind of pointing towards the right side of the mat, can you open up? Can you rotate this hip back ever so slightly so that this knee points forward here? Keep lengthening through the crown of the head. Keep rooting through that right heel. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, step the right foot up to meet the left. On an inhale, lifting all the way up to stand. And then we'll open up cactus arms. And I'll face you here for this next part, but you're facing the front of the mat. With arms in cactus, and steady feet here, see if you can take the weight, see if you can keep the arms where they are. And if this does become a lot, feel free to just kind of switch up the arms here. But with arms in cactus, nice open heart, notice if you can shift the weight over into the left foot and bring this right knee up. So working on the balance here. Things to note, we all know we've been here before. You're finding something to gaze at that doesn't move, and notice if you're holding your breath. And if you are holding your breath, please start breathing. Maybe you try extending that right foot forward. Keep those shoulders soft. Notice if they're kind of inching up towards the ears here. Take a bend back in that right knee and take, you're gonna keep the knee where it is and start to twist towards the right. See if you can keep the arms where they are. Maybe again, you extend through that right foot, challenging yourself here. Maybe you extend the arms out, maybe left arm, I can't do it, but maybe you can grab that right foot with the left hand. One more breath here. Exhale, release, come back to center, come back to standing. You can kind of shake out the legs, shake out the arms. And we'll do the other side. So inhale, sweep the arms. Exhale, elbows out here, cactus arms. Notice what's going on with the shoulders. Can you release? And then bring the weight into the right foot, lifting this left knee. And try not to shift the hips, right? So we want to keep these hips square. This is fun. Maybe we stay here or we extend left foot forward. And then you can challenge yourself to lift it up about hip height here. Take a bend back in that knee, start to twist towards the left. Maybe you re-extend through that left leg. Maybe you reach the arms out. Maybe your right hand finds the left toes. That's a big maybe. Here for one more breath. And then exhale, release, shake it out. Just take whatever you need here. You can even just kind of take the arms from side to side. Maybe you mimic your dog if you have one. And then we'll come back to standing here. Slight bend in the knees. Inhale, sweep the arms all the way up. Exhale, fold over the legs and take a moment in your forward folds. Maybe you grab opposite elbows. Maybe you clasp the hands, take them to the back of the head. Find a little movement here if you need. We're going to make our way right down to the floor after this. So option to also just take another vinyasa and a down dog if that's what you're looking for today too. And when you're ready, you'll make your way to the floor. We'll make our way onto our backs, just like we started. Once you're on your spine, bend the knees, soles of the feet to the floor here. Feet are hip distance apart. Roll those shoulder blades underneath you. And on an inhale, pressing into the feet to lift the hips for a bridge pose. Keep extending through the knees here. Knees point forward. We're not allowing the thighs to collapse in here. Imagine you've got a block in between the thighs. Can you release the glutes, release that low back? Maybe that takes you out of the pose a little bit, and that is okay. And then on an exhale, slowly releasing the hips down to the ground. Option to hug the knees into the chest or to take the feet wide and allow the knees to knock in here, whatever feels better for you in this moment. And then when you're ready, we'll take one last full body stretch here, stretching arms out overhead, stretching feet down. Taking up some space. Notice if you can soften with each exhale, maybe tense a little bit with each inhale, and then soften on the exhale. Invitation to take any last poses that your body's craving here before you make your way into Shavasana. Finding whatever you need to be comfortable, whatever allows you to fully release here. Yes, I love that. Using a pillow or a bolster under the knees. You could even finish the same way that we started with the soles of the feet together and the knees wide. Maybe even use the strap for it. Always an option. And then when you're ready, just gently releasing, closing the eyes here. Allowing the shoulders to soften, allowing the face to soften, maybe even just bringing a slight smile here to the lips. which kind of forces everything else to soften. Slowly begin to bring some awareness back into the body, finding soft movements in fingers and toes. Bring some movement to the face and the rest of the body. And when you're ready, gently bending the knees and rolling over onto one side here. Pausing there for a moment, being grateful and thanking yourself for taking time out of your day to connect with your breath and with your body. And when you're ready, gently propping yourself out to a comfortable seat. We'll meet with heavy eyelids and hands at heart center. Chin tucked and head bowed. Bowing to your own inner wisdom, your own inner grace. Thank you for choosing to make your practice a glass ball today. Thank you for prioritizing yourself. The light within me honors and celebrates the light that shines inside each and every single one of you. Namaste.